Hello, beautiful people, and welcome back to my channel. And if you're new here, you're also welcome. The last episode we had our sister here share with us her journey. She took us through her first pregnancy, and then she took us through her second pregnancy, which was a twin pregnancy, which she also lost. Um, I think at that point, when she talked about that, I realized that I knew her, but I did not know her because I had no idea she had been through that kind of horrible experience. And so we're here today again, and she's going to, I think at this time, I can reveal that she's going to give us some sort of hope and some encouragement, something to draw strength from. And so, sis, please let us hear the remaining part of this journey you were on.
Okay, good day. Once again, I'm here again.
Welcome back.
Thank you. Okay, as I said earlier at the last episode, after the loss, we're hungry. I was ashamed. I was so ashamed because after having a big tummy, you can imagine twin pregnancy getting to 25 weeks was big, and coming back with nothing again. And of course, I knew people were talking, people were saying all sorts. I was ashamed. I was angry at God, angry at myself, angry at everything, and thinking to myself that why am I going through this? But eventually, my husband and I, we drew strength from this passage of the Bible that said, "Many are the afflictions of the righteous, but the Lord delivered them from it all." And that was always our prayer, that God, all this affliction, all this pain, we know one day you will deliver us from them all. And to now wasn't the matter. I went back to the hospital for evaluation, and the doctor actually told us that at this point she was going to advise surrogacy. And we were like, how is it that bad? And at that point I felt inadequate as a woman, that I can't carry a pregnancy to term. So I thought so. We contemplated going through another IVF, but my husband was like, we are doing nothing again, let's just wait. Let's wait on God. And at that point I didn't really see anybody that could relate with what I was going through. All my friends could just say, "Oh, sorry, we are praying for you," but nobody could explain what was going on with me. Even the doctors would just say, "Well, it happens at times, it's unlikely, they can't explain it and all." So I didn't see anybody to relate with. I didn't see, it was as if I was the only one going through this thing. It was as if there was no one. This situation was peculiar to me alone. And I carried that shame, that you feel when you walk into a group of people, you feel they're talking about you, they're laughing at you. I carried it for a long time. And I just wanted to go to a place where nobody knows me, where I could just start afresh and all. And we waited 2017, nothing. At the beginning of 2018, my sister-in-law gave me a book, God's Waiting Room by Yewande Zacchaeus. He had series 1, 2, 3, and 4. I read this series in less than 2 weeks. I finished the 4th series. And it was as if I was in a room with women that have gone through the same thing I was going through. So it was as if I felt a connect. I felt like, okay, I'm not the only one going through this. There are women going through this, which, if you are going through this thing, if you're going through infertility, please look for people, identify with people, identify with a support group. And I'm glad that my sister here has started this, and I really admire your courage for starting up this thing, that you can call on women, people can draw support from people, from one another. I didn't get that. Nobody could relate with what I was going through. Everybody just thought, oh, she doesn't have a child. But for me, it went beyond that. I was always getting pregnant and losing this pregnancy at a particular time. So, I didn't see anybody to relate with. And so when I read that book, the book really was a renewed hope. It opened up my mind, and for me, I was like, God, if you could do this for these people, lots of women, different women, different walks of life, exposed women, older women, young women that have gone through the same situation. And I thought, so, if you could do this for me, for these people, I'm sure you will do this for me. And that year 2018, that was when I read this book, January 2018. My perspective changed. It was like a shift in my thinking. And for me, I just thought I had a renewed hope. I was happier. I was, people see me and think, you make up, you dress well, and people think everything. But I just had that. But after reading those books, I was happy, and I just knew that God was going to do something. I was telling my husband that let's do IVF. My husband was like, we are not doing anything again. Let's just wait. And so we kept waiting. There was a time I tried to go to do a procedure. I drew tubation to flush up the tubes. Because my husband didn't even want me to do anything again. That was the only procedure he never went with me. I went on my own because it was like, just wait. And sometimes in around April or so of that March of 2028, I decided to go back. 2028. Okay, March of 2018, I went back to, someone referred us to Nizamiye Hospital, and we went there. And my mom called me out of the blues one day and said she met a doctor that delivered my younger brother. That was some years ago, and the doctor advised that I should go back for another HSG. I was like, how would I go back? They already said doctor. That was just a miracle. Okay, so I decided, okay, let me go for it. I went for it, and when I went for that HSG, they said one tube was open.
Wow.
Okay, and so the doctor said, since one of your tubes is opened, we will start monitoring tracking your follicles, so that for your next cycle and all, we give you drugs and all. And by the time I said, okay, my cycle was okay. They said, come next week, let's track it and let's see how it's going to be. By the time I went that week, the doctor checked the follicles and said, okay, gave me drugs. I said, come back 2 days after. I went back 2 days after. I said, you know what, this won't work, this cycle. Your eggs are not matured enough. Let's just forget about it. When you see your next menses, you come back. So I got home that day when the doctor told me that there was no way that month. Told my husband, and my husband said, let's just live our lives and be happy. And we met that day anyway. And after 2 weeks, I did pregnancy tests and realized I was pregnant because I was feeling sick and my menses was not coming. So I went to the hospital. I told the doctor, and he said, no, you can't be pregnant. That was what the guy said. And he was like, we'll have to do another pregnancy test. And I said, okay, do I have to wait for the results? He said, no, this result will take 24 hours for it to come out because they need to check.
So there are two different types of pregnancy tests, and one is qualitative and the other one is quantitative. The qualitative just helps you know that yes, pregnancy is positive. But for someone who probably had a diagnosis like you, who have been told that your follicles were not yet mature or they were not mature enough, and the doctor just wanted to make sure that this was real pregnancy, yes, we'll go for quantitative. So within that first week of you being pregnant, there's a certain level that HCG should be at. So I'm sure that's what made it take that time.
Okay, thank you. So, and that was how I was confirmed pregnant, and the journey began. You know, my thoughts, my mind was messed up already from the previous experiences, and so the doctor took it upon him.
Do you call this like a post-traumatic disorder?
Yeah.
So that would mean that women who have had several miscarriages, would end up having PTSD.
Yes. Yes, because you think to yourself that will it happen again? It will happen again. You know, like that. And so the doctor, my file in the hospital was tagged high risk pregnancy. So everywhere I carry my paper or whatever, anytime I have to go to the hospital, it's boldly written high risk pregnancy. And the doctor asked me to totally shut down. I had to do another circlage. The circlage was messy because of the trauma of the previous one. So it was difficult to tie it together, but eventually they were able to do it.
This was still at Nizamiye?
Yes, this was Nizamiye Hospital. And we continued. I had to be going for antenatal every 2 weeks. I would do comprehensive blood analysis so that they had to monitor the pregnancy. Every time I went to the hospital, the doctor would always say one thing. I'll call my husband. They said this again. I have to buy these drugs. I was just on medication all throughout. I could not go anywhere. I was on bed rest. The only place I went to was to the hospital. And at 25 weeks again. So I think that's when this PTSD will come in. I had this dream of losing the pregnancy again. And when I woke up, I told my husband, I said I had a dream that I started bleeding again. At that point, it was on a Sunday morning. My husband had to go to church. I called my mom. I called my brother. My brother is a pastor. And my brother said, Deola, at this point, we can only pray for you, but the work is in your hands. You have to declare the word of God by yourself. And he gave me some verses in the Bible to be declaring. And after he gave me those verses, I wrote them down in a sheet of paper. And every morning when I take my medication, I take it too as part of my medication. I started declaring the words every day. I take swallow my medication. The pregnancy was funny because I went through a lot. There was, at times I choke on water. I take water and I choke to the point of
almost vomiting.
No, vomiting is an understatement. Choke to the point of death that I can't breathe again. So it was just from one drama to the other. After a while, my blood sugar went high. So my blood sugar is high this moment. The next moment, my blood sugar is low. I'm fainting. The doctor encouraged me to just keep pushing. There were a lot of medications. I had to use a lot of injection and all, but I kept on pushing and managing till 37th week. And my husband had already told me before then that if this one is successful, we will name the baby Victor, because this is really a victorious journey. And the 37th week, on 24th November 2018, God blessed my family with this handsome boy.
Wonderful. Come baby.
Victor Oluwadamilare Iganje. God blessed us with him, and the baby, the follicle that was not good enough, there was this big baby. And after having him, we were discharged from the hospital, but I was rushed back to the hospital a week after. I had complications. I had to undergo another surgery. But here I am today. I thank God. kept me, He kept us all.
Victor, do you want to say hi to everyone?
Say hello.
What a journey. So how does it feel now that Victor is here, having this life child growing in front of you? What do you have to say to those of us who are still yearning, those of us who are hoping, who are waiting for such a wonderful testimony to come our way?
Yeah. Keep hope alive. That's all I have to say. I believe God will do it. You know, one thing I always say is that God, I'm not asking for anything out of your will. This is the will of God. The will of God is that we should multiply. This is God's will, and He will do it for us all. He will do it for you. Just trust God. And if you've gone through this situation and you know a family that is going through this, please reach out to them. Reach out to them. There's a passage in the Bible that the grace that you have enjoyed or the blessing you have enjoyed, extend it to other people. Reach out to them. Your encouragement, your advice will go a long way. Your support, your presence will go a long way because you've passed through that journey and you can relate with the person. And if you are going through this, just be happy. I know it's not easy, but be happy, live your life. God will do it in a way you do not expect. For some people, it has to be IVF. If you need to go through IVF or IUI, find an intervention. And for some people, it's just natural. And for me, I also say, adoption is also something we should open our hearts to. We should open our hearts to adoption. We actually got to that point of thinking of adopting. Our society, the society needs to adjust to this fact that
evolve beyond.
Exactly, evolve beyond. It has to be you that will birth the child. It has to be you that will carry the child. If you can afford surrogacy and you are going through the problem I have of not being able, cervical incompetence, please, by all means, go through it. Go to the hospital, get medical intervention, get spiritual intervention. As I said earlier, everything, as it's physical, as it's psychological, is also spiritual. Spiritual too is the spiritual aspect too is also as important. Pray to God, trust in God, and He will come through for you.
At this point, I don't think I have anything to say because you have really educated us. You have given so much information just within your story, and spending this time with you has also been very uplifting. The fact that you have your Victor sitting in front of you, it's a testament to how when one doesn't give up hope, when one doesn't throw in the towel, there is really light at the end of the tunnel. I'm thankful to you, and I'm sure on behalf of every other person who has also been encouraged, who has also learned something, who has also drawn strength from spending this time with you, on behalf of them, on behalf of myself, on behalf of all the women out there struggling with infertility, I just want to say thank you for doing this, for sharing your journey with us. I really appreciate
and
you.
Thanks so much too for starting this. This is a topic that is not spoken about in the church, in the mosque, and everywhere. We don't have this support. People don't talk about it, and we need it to be. We need people to talk about it so that people know that if I'm going through this, I have where to go to. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to share my story. Thank you for what you're doing. Thank you for this idea. Thank you so much. You don't know how far what you're doing is going to get to, and the number of lives you're reaching out to. And for me too, is a remembrance for me to know that waiting might not necessarily be for children. You might be waiting for a whole lot of things. And for me to talk about this is a reminder to me too that God will do it. Anything, whatever we are trusting Him for, we should just keep trusting. He will do it for us.
He will come
Thank
through
you.
for us all. And so, as always, I wish you all love, laughter, and endless possibilities. From me here today, it is bye. Victor, say
Bye.
bye.
Why are you shy?
Bye.